Hey guys, lycheepunnet here, bringing you the content collection Abyssal Fleet's extra back translation. I've got with me El Prez as always, as well as two other people who actually play the mobile game, so they'll be making incomprehensible jokes the whole time. To me anyway, I'm sure if you bought this pack, then you actually care about the mobile game,
Or you don't.
or you don't, either way.
You're making a pretty big assumption there.
Browser
Yep.
game, dude. If it was a mobile game, I'd have I'd have a much easier time playing this thing.
I don't actually know what it is, but we'll go with that. So in case I haven't said it, I don't think I've said it, we've got Teru and what do you want to be called?
I think I got called Magitek in the last video.
We'll go with that,
We
Magitek.
can call you whatever you want.
Yeah, you can be Magitek. Alright. So, very quick
Loud.
spiel. Rating system, good to bad, good, playable, bad, as well as niche. Good is good cards, start them in the deck list. Playable is like filler, you're happy to have it in the deck, but it's not the draw to the set. Niche is like for a specific deck, or you need to support it a lot in order for it to be good, but it still might be good. And bad cards are actively bad cards, or cards that
They're traps.
yeah, like they actually they just over they're either outclassed by something else or they actively go towards losing the game. And our last rating is the meta rating, which is this is why you're playing this set. This is the draw to the set if you had to enter a tournament with it, and this is what you would build around. So
So
yeah,
none.
Yep.
that seems a little rude to the set, but
Dude,
we'll
I've got
move
like one card in mind that has meta rating.
Wonderful.
I think
This
I
set's
gave
a fucking cash grab.
Literally one.
I gave two, but I might be giving it a lot of credit. So, on that note, we can move in. The first card is Aircraft Carrier Woe class. Woe? Woe. I don't.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, sure. Woe.
Whoa.
It's
Whoa.
a 0
You just
0.
call her silly hat girl, man.
Sure, silly hat
No,
girl.
she's Elizabeth, right? Is that the thing from Fate Go?
No, that's
Uh,
Marie, man.
Marie.
Oh my god. Mobages, please.
Talking about Mobigaze or Persona, we'll move on. 0015. It's got two abilities, both of which are quite good. At the start of your climax phase, choose one. Whenever I come across this trait, I'm just going to say Evil Boat, because I don't want to say Abyssal Ship every single time.
Evil
Choose,
boots.
choose an Evil Boat, and that character gets 1k for the turn. And the other ability is one we've seen on a couple very good cards. It's a startup, so do it as many times as you can pay the cost. One cost, put the top card of your deck to clock and tap this to search your deck for one Evil Boat and add it to hand.
Takatsubo.
Yeah, it's Taketsubo from Railgun. It's a repeatable wiki effect for any selected trait.
Infinite value
and
machine.
It's really good.
Perpetual value machine.
Well,
Keep afford to perpetually afford to punch yourself in the face. It seems pretty good.
Paid
It's
like 828 times. It's fine.
it's Takatsubo with an additional effect. There isn't anything wrong with it. It would have been
Yeah.
good if it didn't have the first effect.
Well, but
Yeah.
Taketsubo's 1k bigger.
oh man.
Oh man.
That's my draw for playing Takatsubo, not because it's yellow and because it makes me not lose
Takatsubo.
hand.
Taketsubo enables Best Girl deck. That's why you play Taketsubo. But this card is
Is
just
best girl Toma?
Best Girl's Accelerator.
Yeah.
Best man is
This
Toma.
card is just really good. I don't see a complaint to be had about it.
It's a really good card. One of the interesting things I see for Abyssal Fleets is that a lot of people were looking at the set, seeing if there was anything they could put into their old Kantai deck, and because they're so trait focused on the Abyssal ship trait, it's kind of hard to find splashable cards, and this is kind of an example of that. They're being very particular about trading things in this set.
Well, there are some cards.
There are
you
some
can
that work with other
Kantai
stuff,
decks.
but like
I don't think this is one of them now.
this is definitely meant to be built for the purpose built evil boats deck.
The 1k boost is actually really good for this deck, since you don't have access to 2k ones if you're playing class combos, and you don't really want 2k ones in this deck anyway, because you need the plusy triggers, because this deck can't advantage for shit, man.
Well, we are looking at a advantage engine. I don't know how far it'll take you, but it is a advantage engine.
But maybe use it twice.
Yeah, I figure
Yeah.
about twice.
Yeah, because so like the 1k boost is actually like really good on this.
Yeah, you don't want to punch yourself that many times for this effect.
Like the like this card, it's also just a nice what do you want to call it? Like it's nice that this has it because otherwise people might have been forced into playing Inazuma, which would just be like really funny because it would never come into play untapped.
Oh, Inazuma searches for level
Dude,
1 or lower.
you just top check
Yeah,
himself, man.
But you top check
Just get
if
good.
if your top
Yeah,
card
it's
attack
top-
is not Fleet Girl, it's
It
tapped.
misses. Yep.
So
No, I
that's
think this
funny.
card is gonna be
It's
like
good. It's good in
two
its
to
respect.
3 of probably in the deck.
Probably 3 off. I'd say 3
I don't
off.
really see
3.
you running a full playset because I don't think you want to like draw
No,
this very
you
often.
don't have the room. You just don't have the room.
So
Yeah.
Like
Card is-
Katsuba wasn't even run as 4 off.
card is good. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I have it as good. This is not a
I've
meta.
seen a deck with 4 of this, but that's like a day 3 build.
It feels excessive.
Yeah.
It does feel excessive.
That did go 5-1 in trios though.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's trios.
Did any of
is-
you go 5-1 in trios?
Japan is
Well,
free as hell.
they were carried by like Kanan and Monogatari.
Well, like, what if I make a deck with 2 of them and go 6-0 in trios?
Oh man.
Oh man.
Moving on.
Trios is scrub territory.
Northern
this
Princess.
We're all giving it a
Northern
good rating, right?
Princess.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all gave it a good rating.
Yeah.
I get it. So this is Hoppo, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Evil
So
boat.
her effect is the 1045. When Go Sync, which is a bar, is placed in the climax zone. If this is in the front row, you can choose up to one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters and kill it, and then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 0 or lower, put it in your hand. Otherwise, it goes back.
I dislike this card immensely.
This is a double
I-
rare.
I think this is being interpreted incorrectly. This is
Okay.
not a plus in combo.
This is true. It's not a plus in
Yeah.
combo. It's at worst, like. Oh wait, does it say front row? No, it says any.
No, it doesn't.
So like you can still kill like the important back rows. So like
It reads
sets like
Hopper
It's
Brainstorm.
really early costless removal. I think that's really good, to be
like
honest.
Fate will not have a fun time facing down this card, for instance, because then all of their global encore givers get fucking blown the hell out.
There are many decks
Many
that will
sets
not
that'll have
enjoy,
issues with this.
enjoy
but-
having their storms popped.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
Index, Guilty Crown, Girlfriend Beta, not to mention decks like Madoka and
it also
Right.
like completely savagely murders Rider.deck to an extent, but the issue with that is you still need to get bigger than 7k with this card.
yeah, this is true, but you have other cards to do that.
You can go to
This card
7k,
is-
but you have to put the low boost on this, which is kind of shitty.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Then you're still trading. Like,
this
Well, you
card
just
is-
pop their support.
I think
I
that
don't
the whole like people say it's bad because you can't guarantee a plus. I counter by saying it's not actually a plus in combo. It's a combo that pops something and might give you a plus.
I mean,
There's a
not
way
even
to
plus.
set this up, but you have to run a really shitty 1-0, so you don't want to do it.
Is it the one that we come to in a couple cards time?
Maybe.
I agree. I think the card is fine if you want to use it to pop level zeros, but doesn't the regular set have like a level 0 pay 1 stock murderer thing?
I don't think you
On
should
the
consider
back.
this. This shouldn't be considered an add-on to Kantai Collection. This is a
No,
deck-
I'm not even talking about like an add-on. Like just adding that to this set.
I don't think you would ever do that. Like there's not many cards in Kantai that are so good you want to put them into an evil boats deck.
I don't know. I just find this card very underwhelming at double, like especially at double rare value. Like,
It's not like we haven't had a slew of bad 1-0 double rares
oh
recently.
my god, all the Mekon clones, please.
Yeah. I think this card is fine. I gave it a good rating because it pops brainstorms.
I'm gonna give it a playable rating. Popping brainstorms is like the only thing I really want to be doing with this, and I don't think it's often gonna get big enough to kill some of the more important decks.
That's popping brainstorms is really good against a specific category of player. That is anyone who started
A good
playing
player.
2014 onwards. They're used to brainstorms being ridiculously good. They just brainstorm every turn. And then it dies, and then they don't know how to manage their hand.
Unless they're playing
then-
Love Live, then you can't even pop it, man.
There are a lot of sets where you can't pop their brainstorms, but like,
Oh,
But they're
if you're
playing
playing
Love
against Love Live, then it's set your free win, okay?
you gotta play against Rider.deck. Or Terraformers Edition, where you can't even pop their back rows because they're 1-0s.
Yo, popping your Ryle and Steno, this sounds great.
I know. That's
Please
like
don't.
that's like the dream.
Don't fucking trigger me. Don't kill Tia and Tamara.
Are those their names? Tia and Tamara. That's the new one.
Dude, sister.
Oh my
Sister,
god.
sister.
Anyways, I think the card is playable. I don't think this is like a good card per se.
I
I
think
feel like
you run the bar anyway, so it's not like
Yeah, you run the
to
bar,
have one or two of this.
but
Because the other bar combo
that
kind of
bar actually kind of clashes with another bar combo that you might want to run. So you have to
I
pick
don't
and choose
like
between the
that
two.
bar combo. I think
Yeah, me
this
neither,
one's
but
better
we'll get to
the-
that in a sec.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways,
there's also
Uh,
some flavor on this effect actually.
I figured it was. It was like kill one of their level zeros, then you get a level
Like
zero.
I didn't know this until a friend told me.
I thought
but
you played
like,
this game.
Oh,
hey man, like the plane she's holding is like a zero fighter that crashed during World War II. Then the Americans found it, and they took it apart,
Hey man,
and that's how they
you gotta keep it a secret.
found out how to
that all-
kill them.
You gotta keep it a secret that all the Abyssal ships are just American ships.
Dude, they're so white. It's so obvious.
Whoa there.
Also, it did not take tearing apart a zero for the Americans to beat the zero.
Anyway,
okay.
next time.
Anyway.
Can we not discuss that? Like,
Moving on to the better Hoppo.
Are you Americans being triggered?
Oh, absolutely.
It's-
I'm not American.
This is-
I am living. You are North American.
That's
I
the same
am
thing.
actually,
I'm not free man.
Hashtag Canada.
This is final form Hoppo. She's a 3/2 10k. If all of your level zoned cards are evil boats, so you can't put events in, no climaxes, this gains 1/5, so it's 11/5 base. And during the turn this is played from hand to stage, if this card's battle opponent is killed, you may pay 1. If you do, clock it.
It's like almost exactly like the, or not almost exactly, but it's very similar to the Rider Clockkicker from Fate Zero. At least that's the comparison I make. They're
I
both.
think it's a very big difference.
This one's actually 500 power bigger, but then the issue is the other one has back rows that like say ha ha ha. I don't give a
The
fuck.
other one sends all your cards to memory so they can't get clock kicked in return.
This is true. I think if this card had one more line of text, it would be a lot better. Like even the 500 power loss. But I think ultimately, like this is like
Card is very serviceable.
I think this is like actually a good card. I think this is a really good clock kicker. I think it's a very low maintenance card, and given the way that your deck is going to be constructed, and you're probably going to just jam a climax with this anyways, you're probably sitting at 12/5 clock kickers for pay 1 clock kick, and I think that's
You
really
don't need to
acceptable.
jam a climax, just play the Taketsubo clone or any number of
I mean,
global
you got a lot of
supports.
stuff you got a lot of stuff going on, but I think this card is like really actually like a very solid and good card.
So
Fine.
I'm a cheeky cunt, and I kind of wanna. Can I say that word on here?
Yes.
Well, you already said it, so I'll just
Oh.
I'll just label there is
Okay, just
offensive language.
bleep it in post. We got this.
No, we don't.
So none of that. Little babbies, no listen to
I'll
evil
leave
boats.
money in the swear jar, man.
So damn it.
Go on,
Another
go
one.
on.
So the only thing I think about, because I honestly haven't looked at the Abyssal stuff too much, so I don't have an idea of how I would build the deck. Every time I look at this, I think of my stupid Contai build, which is just like stock charge to 14 stock and never die. And I kind of want to run this over a Kagi so I can run Hibikis. That's all I got.
Why don't you just run Hugo?
Yeah, why don't you just run
Yeah.
Hugo?
I don't even play
That's
boats.
11k on play, man.
Yeah, but this
Huh.
card is going to be 10k forever because you're not
Yeah,
going to have.
exactly.
I think,
Just
the
run
big
Hugo on
boats.
that.
Huh.
You can get it to like 12k or something too if you use a startup.
I mean,
or
like,
act.
the best part of the Akagis is I don't run A, offensive back row, and B, like, the draw 2 ditch one is super stupid.
Well, as it turns
Oh,
out,
yeah,
putting draw 2
sure.
ditch 1 on cards that require climax combos was pretty good. Yummy.
Yeah.
And in a deck
Also,
that
like,
was-
Compasses, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Also
the
yummy.
Hyuga is a much better solution because I can grab that with a Kotsky.
Yeah.
And, like,
Mhm.
anything that just says boat girl on it. Or
Pretty
ship
much.
girl. But
So-
I don't know. That deck is already kind of stupid. And
Yeah.
I feel it not like it's bad. It's just like it already just aims to do stupid stuff. So
I
feel
mean,
like
I used to
adding
play
this
that
would be
deck
funnier.
too, and Akagi's pretty. I don't know. I
I
don't really
just-
like Akagi in that deck.
I end up overextending the turn I play Akagi because I'm gonna lose my 14 stock anyway. But like I get to have fun.
Akagi seems extremely counterproductive in that deck, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It-
spend like 5 turns charging all your clean, delicious stock, and
To
then
get
a
it
Kagi
all
comes in,
gone.
But like
it eats all of it.
I've used all that stock to refresh twice in a turn. Just
That
because
also
I could.
seems really suboptimal.
Oh my god.
You're not playing
I'm
this
just-
gear.
You
I'm
just
just-
burned yourself twice.
I'm just fucking around, man. I'm trying to get to my 1 SR Musashi and play it.
So we've derailed a lot, but I don't think anyone thinks this is anything less than a good card.
Well, I think it restricts your deck building a lot, because if you use Musashi in the same deck as this, you lose a 1.5k obviously,
It's
because you won't have anything else to splash that's yellow.
Oh, I guess
Also
that's
fine,
true.
but-
Usually you just
Well, that's
stick
not true.
Musashi
You
in
can
the
just
lowest
like
slot.
clock Musashi at level 3 and make it happen.
I guess so, but like,
That
come on,
seems
dude.
suboptimal as well.
I mean, dude,
And losing that 1.5k power is pretty huge.
I played Terraformers for long enough to know that I can totally get by on 4 Adolfs and as my only yellow splash.
Yeah, but you're allowed
Yeah,
to
but you
actually
can
level
safely
them
put-
earlier.
I generally don't, though.
But you
Well,
can.
yeah, but the point
That's
is
an
you
option
can,
you have.
whereas you can't do it here, so it's not good.
Yeah, I would not splash it with Musashi, though. That seems iffy.
Yeah, do some other clock kick instead.
Just run it with a
It's
Kagi
nice
Kai.
that this is big too, because you can just put these on the sides and put your restandard in the middle if you played that.
Just play a Kagi. Just go a Kagi with this. Make everything bigger.
Sure.
This standard seems just really. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, yeah.
Alright,
Fuck it.
moving on.
Next card is the Heavy Cruiser Nair class, which I think Magitek was very confused as to why this is seeing so much play, and I kind of agree, but I can see benefits to it. And by benefits, oh wait, it's your opponent may choose. Yeah, never mind, there's no benefit.
There's no benefit.
So this is a 0/04k, it can't side attack, and when this is reversed, your opponent may choose a character card in your waiting room and put it on
Top
top of
ticket.
your library. So if you are just going to ram this in, then it doesn't
You
really
can
do anything.
control your trigger, man.
Not
Your
even.
opponent
It's pretty
has to
huge
control your
sometimes.
trigger.
That does matter.
Your opponent's not going to do it if they're going to just give you a clean stock to trigger.
Also,
true.
it's not
Well,
clean
not
stock to
necessarily.
trigger because you're drawing that fucking card unless, like, you ram it in,
What?
obviously.
We're
you
talking
ram-
about
Oh,
ramming in.
Okay,
man.
if you ram
Wait.
it in, then it doesn't, like, they're not going to do it. I don't.
No, like your opponent has all the choice, so they're
Actually-
not going to.
Yeah.
If I was playing against Love Brew and they had this card, I would so put that Yami into their stock, though.
Why? They'll just brainstorm it out.
Because there are specific decks that have a harder time getting those cards from their stock than other places.
Wait, I still don't see how that is going to happen.
It's not.
Like, they just draw that card. It goes to the top of their deck, not to...
Unless they.
Something else you have to
another
look at while you evaluate this card is you have to look at the other big beaters at level 0 that this deck has. Since this booster is so small, you have to do that. Your other choices
don't-
are a 0/0 that's 3/5 level 1 if you have 6 cards in hand.
Yeah, and
And
there's a 4K
another one, that,
unbombable, right?
unbombable if it's alone.
A 4K unbombable if it's alone.
Yeah,
And there's
the issue
also
is, okay,
there's a pseudo beater, which is like an anti-runner, which we'll get to, which might actually be the best choice anyway.
which one was that? I can't remember.
It's the one that if your opponent has 1 or fewer level zeros, you get to neg 3 it.
Oh yeah, that thing.
At which point you become bigger than it because you're a 2K.
Isn't it bomb
I mean-
deck? It's bomb deck.
I don't know what that means, but
No, it's like the Nano Home one where if they have
yeah.
one or
It's
less
like
cause
the-
0 in the
it's like
front,
the
so you
Shimao.
bomb deck it. Yeah.
bottom deck.
Oh,
If
that
it
one's
does,
sweet.
is it? Is it bottom
Anyway.
deck or neg 3K?
It's bomb deck. It's
Uh,
bomb deck. Is
yeah,
it?
anyway,
Nanoha one
I-
is bottom deck.
It is. Nanoha Shimala's bottom deck. I don't think this card is worth playing in a deck unless it's specifically trying to leverage the heavy cruiser trait, which means you're playing that weird Otago deck.
Yeah.
There's 0 cost heavy cruisers and regular content you can play anyway.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
reason
but you want
no reason
more.
you use. No, you don't.
More, man. More.
What the hell?
More.
Moving on.
I've got
card
this
is-
as niche, and I still can't figure out why all of the topping
Well,
lists are
this is the
rubbish.
only one you could like really slap a bunch of supports behind without losing power.
I'd call it niche,
I
but
guess, but why don't you just play the one which lets you ditch a card to become 5k. That seems better in the general scheme of things.
There's a
think
card that
it's
lets you ditch a card to become 5k.
It's a 0025 that gets 2/5 when you ditch a character card.
It sounds really shitty, man.
It seems better, especially if you're going to run this.
Except it's not a startup
I don't
effect.
know
It's supposed
about
to be used with
better.
backups.
Well, I don't think this card is very good, is my point.
Yeah, I agree. It's if you need a level 0 beater, I mean, it's there.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Moving
we'll
forward,
move on to the next card, which has so many lines of text, I don't really want to read them all. So
Midway.
Midway Hime, it's a 103k, and it is actually a beater. So it's got one cost to choose an evil boat to get 1/5 for the turn. When this is placed from hand to stage, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck and put them back in the same order. So this is what sets up the Hoppo combo. If you've got 2 or more other evil boats, this gains 1k power, and for each of your other level 0 or lower characters, this gains another 500 power. So this is probably around 5k unboosted.
yeah.
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 Then the last ability is one cost, sack this. When this no, it's not one cost, sack this. It's one cost, discard a card from hand, because otherwise the cost doesn't make sense.
Cards
Heart of Cards is completely wrong. One cost to discard a card from hand. When this is placed from stage to waiting room, you may pay cost. If you do, choose a Midway Princess final form in your waiting room and put it on any slot on stage. That card is a 2175 we'll come to later. But this card is hard to evaluate because there's approximately 900 lines of text on it, and
I'm not very keen on this card.
It's a usually 5k that turns to a 2/1.
7.5.
yeah. So we can break it down and say it's a 105k, which has an optional pump ability, a commonplace scry, and you're not allowed to rearrange. And when it dies, you can go +0 to get a 2175.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That 2175 may be an 11.5 depending on circumstances.
It's a pretty garbage circumstance.
Yeah, well, no, not really. If it's coming,
We'll get to
into your
that,
set.
right?
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But
I don't think this is a very good card, no matter how much text it has on it.
I agree.
Like,
Isn't this like Magitek? Isn't this the like really rapey boss from the last event?
From summer 2014.
Is this 2014?
Yeah, it's 2014, dude.
What was the like 2015 event boss?
From summer?
Like summer or like fall?
It's like the event that just ended, or what?
No, like the,
Summer? Summer's a restander.
I guess it was summer.
Summer's a
Okay.
restander.
Gotcha. I haven't actually played Kantai in a while, so I thought this was that boss and I expected more, but I guess I got nothing to really say.
so these guys are nerding out, and I'm just going to say this is a niche card for me. I don't think it should be part of the meta deck.
Niche. I think it's not great.
It's pretty
Yeah.
niche. You have to build around it.
It's not a card worth building around though.
Dude, I have a deck idea based around this card.
Well,
Yeah,
Wonderful.
well,
It's pretty shit, but
I have an
it's a deck
endless
idea.
8 deck idea, and it is also pretty shit, but it's a thing. What's your point?
moving on.
So, yes, moving on. This next card, Aircraft Carrier Oni. It's a
we didn't
1045.
say, we didn't say anything about the 2/1 yet, I think.
No, we're getting that.
We didn't, because it comes later. We can
Oh,
put
okay.
out a 2/1 now. I mean, it's a
No, it's
2175.
okay.
Sure, okay, we'll come to it later. Aircraft Carrier Oni, it's a 1045. When this comes to play, you can discard a card from your hand. Stop me, you've heard this one before. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your library, choose one evil boat, add it to hand, and discard the rest.
Oh man. At least it's 1-0.
I think we've actually reached a point where just being a Katsuki is no longer a meta draw, or else I would have given this a meta rating.
This is true. If you wanted to set with Bakatsuki, there are better sets than this.
Yeah,
Like
this is the
Kantai
best,
collection.
pretty
I
much.
have 2 thoughts about this card. First one's
What are those
yawn.
2 thoughts?
The second
Yeah.
one, stop bopping my goddamn boats, dude.
Deal with it. Card is
Yeah.
good. Like,
It's good. I'm not going to call it meta because it's too common and normal cunts. I already had this, so I don't really care about it.
I, it's fine. I, I'm just gonna move on.
Is
I
that
don't.
something you would run 4 of, though? Because it's a 1-0, and you don't have the room.
I
I
run
might.
4 of it in the aliens deck for Talavu, but that's because,
Well, you kind of want like a pretty healthy waiting room with that deck, anyways.
well, it's more that that deck has nothing to do with set compress, so I want to get through my deck really fast.
Yeah, just play animal.
I do play animal,
And
and that deck
having
doesn't
a weak
compress.
lane in this deck is actually kind of a problem sometimes. So you don't want to
I
play this all the time.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Hmm.
Alright, next card. Armored Carrier Oni.
Same girl, I guess. I don't.
Is it?
No,
I
the
don't
last
know.
was aircraft carrier.
Now, this one you can, like...
Oh, it's
This
like
one's pretty easy to whack around.
This one's
Last one's
pretty
a
good.
bitch.
It's a 1/0 5K. When this is placed from hand stage, choose another evil boat, and that character gets X power, where X is 500 times the evil boats you have.
ew.
It's really
This is re
weird.
it's good for pumping the clock kick and pumping other weak things.
Yep.
But the issue I see with this is that sure you pump something else, but you're left with 1/0 5K, and like Magitek said, that's a bit of a liability in this deck.
Well, you could kind of pretend this is Shimakaze Kai, I guess.
I guess, but you don't have Shimakaze in this deck, so
Yeah, that's
why do
true.
you need Shimakaze Kai?
But, like, getting over counters is kind of important, because you need the field on, like, on your
You need
board
cards
for the
on
next week.
field in order to leverage the counters you'll probably be running, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a field-based deck, I feel. So
Mhm.
this card is fine. It's still just a 1/0 5K, but it does let something get over a road that your opponent was probably trying to stop
Gotta
you
kill
getting
those
over.
riders in combination with Hoppo Sync.
Well, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. I feel like there's better things you could do if you want to specifically kill right at up deck, but we'll leave it at that.
There's also sometimes some issues because this thing is come and play, give a pump rather than attack. Because
Hmm.
there's like an early play that needs you to have 3 abyssal characters or something like that.
I'll just take your 2K pump instead of your 2/5 pump and your deal.
Dude, it's 500 power.
Moving on.
Uh, Lose your
Dude,
value. Armored
what
Carrier
value?
Princess. It's a 1/1 5/5.
They're wearing
For
less
each,
and less clothing as we go along.
yes. This one actually has the Princess trait. For each of your other evil boats, this gains 500 power. And Encore, discard a character card.
So it's functionally a 1175 hand encore. There's a better 1175 hand encore in my mind, but
Yes.
it requires a huge deck building commitment, so it's like actually not better.
I don't like that particular card you're thinking of, but there is a different 2/1 advanced summon, so we'll get
Yeah.
to that.
Anyways,
I think this card is, it's bad simply because there are better options.
Same.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm not really one to give bad ratings, so I just don't think this one's very good. Airfield Princess is the next card. It's a 2/1 6K. It is it gives 1/5 to everything in front. Every evil
With the
boat.
trait?
Yep.
Yeah.
Evil boats in front of this get 1/5 and 3 cost with the stock soul. When this is placed to climax zone, you may pay cost. If you do, choose a character card in your clock and add it to your hand.
That's really expensive.
It's a
Not
heal in
really.
hand.
Stock soul. It's pay 2 to heal the hand.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
It's alright.
do you have space for the stock soul in the deck?
Yeah, you do, but the green one is worse than the blue one for various reasons.
Hmm.
Unless you're playing heavy green level 1, which I don't think you will.
I mean, frontal 15 is pretty sweet with the clock kicker, but like,
Which is pretty sweet in general, because it
Yeah.
does pump your level 1s to a reasonable
well, it
level.
pumps everything because it's on trade as
Yeah.
opposed to level X, which is like pretty acceptable.
I think they
You don't
expect
have a
you to
level
play,
X in this.
Well, you don't need one. You have a frontal 15.
they expect you to play a lot of this card because they printed it at SP. I don't think it'll see that much play.
Dude,
I've
the
got
SP
it down.
prints are all characters with voice lines. That's the only reason they're
Sure.
SP. Like,
Oh,
actually.
Wonderful.
Alright, but they don't actually get Seiyu signs, do they? It's more like just
Nope. It's
shiny
just voice
text.
lines.
Sure.
Just stamped
So
on
I think
there.
I think this card is playable as like a one-off support because the power is kind of nice,
I
and
think I agree. It's not like I
I
don't.
don't I don't know about the climax combo
I
though.
would not run the climax combo personally.
It seems okay. It's not terrible.
I don't know. Are you gonna have 4 stock, or I guess 3, because stock's all lying around when you want this?
Sure, why not? It's a deck that just kind of sits on its field.
But what if you need to play clock kickers because you just didn't cancel?
Then you get 3 attacks in which to generate stock to do that.
But what if you just die?
Well, if they've pushed you to level 3 so quickly, then they're probably not at level 3, which means the power for your clock kickers is not that relevant.
Nope. Regardless, I think the
Uh,
card is playable. I don't think I'd run more than 1 or 2.
one. I don't think I'd run more than one. So let's go to the next card.
She does randomly have 6k power, which is pretty amusing.
You guys should like feel free to chime in with ratings since I make you do it. Since I make you do them all the time.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
I remember this card. This card is
If
pretty
you
bad.
have them, if you don't have them, that's okay as well. It's
Yeah.
kind of casual this time around. Light Cruiser 2 class.
Casuals only.
Yep.
Oh, this card. Do
It's
I
pretty
have
bad.
to? All right. So this is it's a 00500. It's a support. When another when you use a startup ability, so a counter or a brainstorm,
Or
choose a
anything.
character. That
Or
character
whoa.
gains 1k, and then the second order ability is this ability activates up to once per turn when your opponent's characters with the trait Carrier is placed from hand to stage. Choose one of your opponent's characters, and that character gets -1 soul for the turn.
Wonderful.
Does
Fuck
this activate?
Junio.
Does this activate on other evil boats? Are there
Yes.
carriers?
Yes,
If
it
there
does.
if there
Some
are
have
any,
carriers.
yeah, I just noticed that this effect is mandatory.
Yeah, it's if
Okay.
you're able to. So
Which
this
means like
card is
if your opponent
basically
like played a Kaga and then played a Kagekai, you just did absolutely nothing.
wrecked. I hope all of
But
you
your opponent's playing
aspiring,
Kaga.
Well,
your all of you aspiring Kantai Collection Title Cup players best take note, lest you get blown the hell out by this card. It's bad.
it's bad.
It's really bad. This card is terrible. Next card.
Second effect's just there for flavor, because she's really good at shooting down planes in the game.
Okay, why isn't that like a submarine instead? Like submarines are
Submarines can't hit planes. That's why.
What?
well, but you don't need to hit planes. You just need to hit the cruiser or
No, you
aircraft
would
carrier.
you decrease the aircraft carrier's attacking capabilities. That's a
whatever.
flavor, man.
Man,
Whatever,
you
bro.
have, like,
Yeah.
Starcraft.
Still shit.
Whatever,
Destroy
bro.
receptors, weaken carriers. Destroy a knee class, 002k. Its flavor is 5x's. That's 1x too many.
Actually, its actual flavor doesn't exist.
Neat. When this is placed from hand to stage, you may put the top card of your opponent's stock in the waiting room. If so, put one of your opponent's waiting room cards into their stock.
It's producer son.
So you swap in a climax, I guess. When this
Yay.
attacks, choose one other evil boat. That character gets 1k. So more incidental power. Is this good?
I think
I like
it's
this card a lot, actually.
playable as like a 2 of
alright.
probably.
It
mean,
seems
There are IMAS decks that run P-Son, producer son, who has a similar effect-ish. But that's also
trying to
like,
figure out how good this is.
primarily in Dodai, where you want to just jam a +2 soul, and the climax you put into their stock is really frustrating.
I think it's probably just playable. I don't
It's
know.
just playable. It's not
It
good.
is
It's
hard,
very
but it is.
playable.
It's not niche. It's playable.
Sure.
Moving on.
Seaport Water Oni. So this is a 2/1 3k counter that forces your opponent to mill 3 cards when you use it. This has already been seen in Railgun. I think we covered it on another cast, but this effect rarely does anything. Like, it very, very, very occasionally forces them to refresh and take 1 damage, but that usually doesn't win you the game.
Hey man, if you wanted to counter that makes your opponent take 1 damage, look no further than playing Sengoku Basara.
If I want,
Yeah.
yes. pretty much. You can play different sets if you want that.
They actually have 2 counters that deal 1 damage.
This effect is basically a 3k vanilla counter that forces your opponent to go through their deck a little faster. And in the current climate, I don't know if that's really a good thing.
I don't think this card is particularly bad. I mean, if you're running this, it's mostly just because it's a 2-1 vanilla counter if you need it.
Yeah.
But there's another 2-1 counter, isn't there?
It's a anti-change counter with a very mediocre. Actually, no, I don't think you run that counter. You run this one.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, because the other counter is like whatever. 500 power sacrifice.
This is playable. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a playable card.
Playable because it's a backup.
Next.
So this is Aircraft Carrier, Water Oni, 2-1-3-5. When this is placed from hand to stage, if you have 4 other Abyssal ship characters, you may put the top card of your library to stock. And when this is placed from hand to stage, you may pay costs. If you do, search your library for 1 evil boat and add it to your hand.
So it can be a pay 1+1.
Yes, that is exactly what it is. It is pay 1+1.
It's also SP.
It is. I think this card is just good because it's a pay 1+1 for anything you want.
I don't know how often.
Very rare.
It's really hard to find room for this in the deck right now.
I think that's the main thing. Yeah,
I feel
you're
like
too
with
busy.
the war class, you probably don't need it as much.
Yeah, I think that since you're trying to establish a game plan by making your deck consistent, you're not going to have too much room for techie stuff.
This is usually the card I drop versus.
Yeah, like this is the 51st card. Or the 52nd card.
It's not like Get Probe.
Or the 63rd card.
Wonderful. Moving forward,
Yeah. Next card. This is actually the card I gave the meta rating to right now, because I just think it's really good right now. Aircraft Carrier Princess. When this is reversed, if the level of the battle opponent of this is higher than the level of your opponent, you may put the top card of their clock into waiting room, and then put that character into clock. So it's an anti-change bomb, basically.
That's really cool.
It's
Yeah, this is card. It was also in Fate, actually. You can run it in your Rider deck.
Yes. It's a Lancer, though. Sad days.
Let's go.
Hey, that card's so flavor. He has to kill himself. It's great.
Ooh, Kuchu Lane.
I think this card is a good meta card because there's so much there's so much advanced summoning going on that you just want to get rid of.
Yeah.
You really need to kill Sai in this deck. So this is really good for that.
Yeah, there's Saya, there's that new Alchemist BS.
Yeah, this is good for that deck too, because they can't 2/2 salvage the same copy you stuffed into your clock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Card is good.
Yeah, I think this is my meta choice of card. People might disagree, but I think this is really good.
I think it's the coolest card I've seen so far.
That's not saying a great deal.
I haven't heard you guys mention the second effect.
Oh, second effect is when you level up, it gets Encore 1.
It has a second effect.
Is that flavorful?
It doesn't even matter.
I did not realize it had a second effect.
It doesn't even matter.
Like, is this going to stay on field for a turn for that to matter?
No.
You can pay
Would you
3
want
Encore.
cost Encore level 3?
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's a second effect, which is neat, I guess, but not my thing.
No. Next.
Seaport Princess, Berserker mode. So I think we need to cover the 1-0 before we cover this, but the order's different. So this is a 2-1-7-5. If Seaport Princess is in your clock, this gets -1 level while in your hand. And when this attacks, if you have a different bar in your climax zone, you may choose a card in your clock and add it to your hand. If so, clock your top deck.
I think this card is really good. Actually, I like this card.
The Seaport
You have to
Princess,
build around it really.
The issue is
Yeah,
Seaport
you really have
Princess
to build around it.
is a 1-0.
Around it.
it's a 1-0
And-
that you want to run a lot of, and then all of your other good level 1s are blue, which is the main problem.
So you basically have to level on blue and then have to clock green.
A
The issue
specific
is-
1-0 in green.
The issue is that you get really punished if you, for instance, get locked at 0-6, then it gets really awkward.
You just tap low, sack your 1-0 off the top, and go ham, dude.
We're not all sack lords like you. That's not how it works.
I wish I was that
Yeah.
good.
This card is really. I actually like this card a lot. I actually like it better than the 1-0 Hoppo. One, it is an on attack plus for basically one stock because it costs one to play.
I'm not sure I agree, because you need stock to brainstorm and hit low. So Hoppo being costless is actually kind of important compared to this being one cost to play down.
Agreed.
I think
agree
for
with
this
that.
particular card, I'm only looking to get 2 of them onto the field maximum, or even 1. I'm okay.
I do like the fact that you don't need to reverse anything with this card because it is kind of small. Like 7/5 is not very
It also
big.
lets you grab climaxes, for instance. So theoretically,
Oh,
you could actually go again if they couldn't kill your 2-1-7-5.
I really don't like that logic because it implies you clocked a climax.
I sometimes do that, and then
Like,
sometimes
if-
I want that
It
back.
picks up your compasses.
Okay, sure, you clocked a climax, but then you are unable to play this because you don't have the 1-0 in clock because we don't sack them from
No, usually you're just grabbing characters, but I like this card personally.
I'm not a huge fan. I still think this is a niche card because you have to run so much green at level 1 to make it good. I'd rather not.
I'm calling
Yeah,
it playable.
if this deck had a bigger card pool, I'd be a bit more inclined to like this card.
I'm gonna call the card playable. The only thing stopping it from being good is that it does require quite a few slots dedicated to this particular set, like
I
this
just
particular
don't like.
chain.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the fact it's both costed and needs a specific card to come down at level 1. At level 2, it's just really not a good card.
Level 2, it's kind of whatever.
But the
So
free
that's-
bars, man.
Next card. Floating Fortress 001K. When this is placed from stage to waiting room, you may pay the cost of 2. If you do, choose a card and clock and add it to your hand and clock your top deck. And the
Ew.
second ability, which is more interesting, tap, give an evil boat 1/5 for it.
I think this card is good, or playable, I guess. I don't know if I'd go as far as say good.
I really don't know if you ever have room for something like this.
Yeah, that's gonna be the issue.
Yeah, I have it as niche purely because I just don't know where you're going to fit this.
I'm still gonna put it at
I see
playable.
a lot of people playing this as a one of, but I have no idea if I would do the same because I haven't played any of the cards yet.
It's like a 1/5 boost out of nowhere, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd still, I'd call it playable.
I
think-
don't like the fact that the two abilities clash with each other. Like,
Yeah,
if you're going to tap it, then it's not going to be in the front row for it to die and go to waiting room. But if it's in the front row, you're not getting the 1/5 boost that you
You
are.
tap it and play over it, man. That's actually fine, I think.
yeah.
If
Is
you really
it?
need
Is
something in
it
clock.
really?
It depends.
If you really need something in clock, then yeah, it's fine.
You need something clock so bad that you would pay 2 and neg 1
If
to
they
do it.
hit your healer or your clock kick in there, then yeah, sure.
I guess if it's the game-winning play, but
I don't know
that's
if
not
it's something
seems
you'd
of-
play a card for.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
you'd
worth
bank
it.
on that happening very frequently,
Yeah.
but like it is something that can come up, where it is a game-winning play because you just needed that card in your clock right now.
I'm just not a fan. Next
It's
card,
really just weird.
Destroyer, E-Class,
Army cards.
002K. You may have as many copies of cards with this card's name in your deck as you want. An experience. For each Destroyer I-Class in your level zone, this game's 2/5. Bad card, moving on.
Yep.
Dude,
That's
you
the-
can
That's my
run
meta vote.
Naganami with this, man.
Nope.
Well, see, this deck actually satisfies all the conditions to be the Suicide Pain Mass Rush deck, because you have a Taketsubo clone, and you have the ability to clock every turn. So you clock twice a turn, and you actually sustain.
You have a card that gives Global Soul to destroyers, man.
This is true.
We in there.
in standard,
Scary.
maybe.
No, in boats.
No, in Kantai.
Do you?
It's like a
Yeah,
0/0
it's like a
500 yellow.
Like,
Zero,
pay
500
2
yellow.
restless, give all of
Yeah.
your destroyer cards plus 1 soul.
Does it need to tap or something?
It needs to tap itself.
It taps
And does
itself.
you pay any cost?
You pay 2.
Pay 2.
Pay to tap itself to give everything 1 soul.
Yes.
Dude.
Bad card.
Luffy.
Moving on.
Dude. It's like
Luffy.
Junior.
Bad card. Moving on.
It's basically Junior.
We've actually already moved on to the submarine.
Submarine So class. If you have no other characters, it gains 1/5 and cannot be reversed. 4K and Bombable with no other characters. Eh.
Playable beater.
I
I'm
really
in
don't like
the
this card in this deck because you have a lot of supports you can play
utility.
down, like
Yeah.
Bo and the level
You have
500.
really good utility. I'm
Yeah.
just not a big fan of level 0 beaters at all. But if this is what you want, then this is probably the best level 0 beater in the set.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong with it. Like, it's not going to screw you over. Like, the 4K very, very might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. It's playable beater. So moving on.
I still don't know why people are buying that 4K, man. I saw a store like tweet out a buy list, and that 4K was on it. I'm so confused, dude.
Because it's big.
'Cause
People want it.
People in
because it's
Japan are
big.
bad and won't use the ability to their advantage, or will refuse to not use it.
Oh god.
I thought I made my point clear of casuals only.
Torpedo Cruiser Chi class 0025. When this is placed from hand to stage, check the top card of your deck. If it's a climax card, choose one of your opponent's characters. That character gets -1K.
Bad card.
Dude, it's a 0-cost torpedo cruiser.
It's a bad card.
Yeah,
Dude.
It's
Is
there-
that the Kitakami Ui combo?
Yeah,
The
man.
one that cares?
It's the only 0-cost CLT there is.
That's actually kind of funny.
this is bad card. Moving on.
It's bad until you have like global and million soul, or is it?
It's
not
bad
soul, it's
until you
damage.
burn like 5, man.
Yeah, burn 5. There you
Oh
go.
my god.
Like 3 times.
Oh, it's
Burn
that
5
card.
3 times, yeah.
Alright, so if that's the deck you want to make, then yeah, sure. Have
It's,
this card
it's
in it.
cute.
But I don't think it's worth.
Moving forward.
Battleship Brew class 105K. When displayed from hand to stage, it gets X power for the turn, where X is 500 times the number of cards in your opponent's clock.
This is like such an awkward card.
I
It
mean,
seems like, why would you play this when the blue 1/0 exists?
Exactly.
it's cool. I don't think I've seen this effect ever before.
That's because it hasn't been printed ever before.
That's what I thought.
I don't think. Like, I've never encountered it either, and I've read most cards in recent memory.
This card is whatever.
It's probably in
She's a
Dixie.
cunt.
Wow.
You seem
She
you
is a
seem
cunt.
you seem miffed. Are you miffed?
Just a little.
Alright, so Magitek is
It's just a
miffed.
bad
We can move on.
Teitoku.
Yeah, he's a Kuso Teitoku.
Alrighty. Moving on.
Seaport Princess, 1065. If there are one or fewer cards in your clock, this can't attack. So this is the card that we were talking about that needs to be in the clock in order for the 2175 to come down. I think it's serviceable, but not great.
I think if you're gonna play the 2-1, you're obviously maxing on this. I actually think this is a fine beater. I think the condition can be kind of awkward though. 'Cause-
Condition
you're gonna-
is really bad later on because you might heal down to like 1 or 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like not a card you want to be drawing at level 3.
Well, there's a lot of ways to filter this out, but you could be filtering other things out instead if you were running it.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of this card. And that's why I'm not a fan of the 2-1.
I like the 2-1. I don't think this card is good enough to make the whole combo worthwhile.
So this is a niche card in my books. Midway Princess, Final Form. A 2175. This is the card that the 1/0 rare changes into.
She stands up, man. That's all she does.
So at the start of your draw phase, if you have no other characters in the front row, it gains 4K for the turn. Woo.
Woo.
And Encore.
So
discard
bad.
a green card.
This
Discard
card
a
is-
green card from your hand.
This card is awful.
So they've
Discard,
started
discard.
doing
It's
the
climaxes.
colored Encore thing in face, and they've moved it here as well, which is kind of cool. But
Man.
it basically implies the rest of your field died, and this did not.
This card is
Yeah.
awful.
That's something this deck shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. Like, it
Yeah.
runs counter to how the deck should be running, in my
Well,
opinion. So it's not
actually-
good.
I think this implies your entire field died, and you paid 1 and discarded to change into this.
That's even worse.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't think so. Everything else
So
died.
he's wrong. Like everything else died, you changed into this and you counted this.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of this card or the 1-0, so I'm putting this as niche because it's still okay, but it's basically just a 1/1 unbombable 7/5
Yep,
more
it's
than
niche.
anything else. We're done with green, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Can we put everything into one video, or
Well, we're 50 minutes into this video, so we should
we
probably
can do it? I believe.
We believe? Okay, gotta go fast. Sanic.
Move faster, move faster.
Don't you normally do like 2 colors in a video anyway?
Depends on the set.
Yeah, depends on the timing.
Anyways.
Like Doge Days, we did 2, but this is a 50 card. Anyway, Anchorage Oni. So this is a 001k. It is a Brainstorm, and it gives the front row center slot 500. So the Brainstorm is 1 cost, tap this. Flip the top 4 cards, and for every climax, search for an evil bird, add it to hand. So 1 cost plusing Brainstorm that taps itself.
Woo. Good card.
This is just very good, but
It's good
there's
and
also
boring.
nothing notable.
It's not special. Is this a good card?
Just very good.
Moving
it's
on.
very-
Yeah.
Yep. So, Light Cruiser Oni final form. I don't like this character design at all. Can I just say that?
Sure.
Because she doesn't
supposed
wear
to be-
shirts.
It's supposed to be Naka and Nagano, like fused together or some shit. Cause they both sank at the map that this character was in.
Whatever.
Is that actual canon
I
or
mean-
is that fan canon?
Well, I mean,
There's
the
no
act-
actual canon in the game, man.
Other
Okay,
than
sure. So
Japan
it's a
loses in
one-
the end.
It's a 105k that gets 500 for every other evil boat and has a drawback of when this is reversed in battle, you cannot use Encore for the turn.
Oh man.
She just
Actually
has a
gave
drawback
this-
of having no arms and legs.
Actually gave us the meta rating.
You reckon this is that good?
I don't think
Yes.
it's that good. It's a good card. It's not that good.
I think it's a good card, but I
I
also
think
don't
it's
think it's that
very
good.
I think it's
Although,
the one
in-
card you would auto 4 of in any deck.
In fairness, we haven't actually covered the entirety of why this card is good. Like, this card is a 107k that might come out at level 0, and that card is the other half of what makes this card so good.
Yep. But we will
This
move
card,
on.
yeah, like, this card is good, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
This on its own is already playable. More
The
cards. make it
107k
better.
beta, like, what else do you want? The drawback is okay. It just means that you're not allowed to use the previous 2-1 we just talked about. We can't use that green Encore, and we can't use other forms of Encore, but you
Whatever.
hopefully have got characters dying anyway.
Moving forward is this restander.
No, it's
It's
not
a healer,
restand.
dude.
Oh,
This is
it's
a healer.
Whatever.
Battleship
This
Water.
is-
The restand is not a double R power card. It's not good.
This is true. No.
Battleship Water only. It's a 3295. If you've got 2 or fewer climax cards in your waiting room, this gets -1 level in hand. During your opponent's turn, for every other evil boat, this gains 500 power, and when this is placed from hand to stage, you may heal 1.
Woo.
So it's like the SAO to Kirito, except it doesn't draw 2, drop 1, instead heals.
It feels more similar to Haruna from Two Lover.
It's Ayumi, man.
It is very similar to Haruna, except it's defensive rather than offensive, which is
Yeah.
what Haruna is.
Yeah.
So Haruna is tied to a refresh, so it's not quite the same.
Nope.
I still think it's more like Kirito, but yeah, it's a good card because it's a 3/2 beta that probably won't die and heals.
Yeah.
I
That's
would
fine.
probably run 4, like, it's a good card.
I think I'd probably run this in tandem with Hoppo. Lock Kicker as my level 3 game.
Yeah, of course, because the restander is for people who dream too much.
Moving forward, there's not a lot to say about this card. It's a pretty solid.
It's
Healer.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good card.
It's a good card.
It's boring though.
Yeah.
So is a lot of this set, so
This set is doing
It's
nothing
true.
for me
That's true.
being from someone who likes building stupid sets. This is not one of them.
oh, here's a stupid boring card. Southern War Princess 001k. All of your other evil boats get 500, so it's a global 500. And when this is placed from hand to stage, check the top card of your deck. If it's an evil boat, add it to hand, discard 1.
This is like so fucking good.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good.
really, really good. Unfair how good this card is.
Why
It's a-
did it take a whole color to get to cards like this?
Well, green is just not a good color in this set.
I
Or
thought
in
green
general.
was the best
Shout out
color.
to- Shut up. We're not foreign.
This card is
Dude, if
fine.
you repeat that joke enough, maybe it'll be funny.
Be calm.
Do you really think so?
Bika.
Dude, it'll
I-
work,
I'm
trust me.
I'm waiting for somebody to do one of those foreign shitposter starter set gags, and the
Oh,
color green is going to be on there. Just
Okay.
the color green.
Wonderful. There's just be like a box, green colored, filled in.
This card is good, but I also think it's very replaceable by a specific 1/0.
Yeah.
It depends on your deck build, because this card will get...
This is global. It's a
Uh, the-
global fight.
Well, the top check won't work if you play stuff like Abyssal and Musashi, so you probably play the 1/0 over that if you're playing
1/0 is
those.
just ridiculous though. Like it's a super good card in general. This card is really good as well.
Yeah. This card is good.
So the next card, Southern Oni. It is a 1/0 global 500. Stop me if you've heard this before. And tap this, draw one, drop one.
I actually like this card.
man, this
This
is
is an-
also
this is
really
an-
fucking good.
This is an incredible, incredible card. I don't think people understand how good this card is yet.
So
Well, the reason I lean toward the 0/0 is because you can play it in front, and the rest of your board will get bigger for a turn, which is actually kind of important during level 1 for this deck. You can't do that with this card either.
I mean, you can play both.
I mean, I'm
It's
just
true,
gonna,
but you don't have the room, man. I've tried that.
I'm just gonna be booty
Make
all
the
day,
room.
man.
Make the room.
No.
This card is amazing.
Make
I'm,
me.
I am retroactively giving this card the meta rating because it is so good.
This card gets the meta rating for me for sure.
Well, this guy's trying to spite me, man.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
I
You
still
tap
give it
this.
to destroy
look,
your
it
high
says
class.
it says rest this to draw a card. If this was
Drop a
Magic,
card.
this would be like the best. No, even in Magic, Merfolk Looter is like the best card ever.
Jace,
and this
Jace Friend's
was-
Prodigy is $80.
only 80. He hasn't gone up yet.
No.
Like,
This card is great.
If you
and
use this in the back, you can't use Woe and the Brainstorm at the same time either. But
Wait, why not?
at the same time, you're not gonna
how
sit
much
on both.
advantage do you need?
Yeah, I know.
I
I,
mean,
was getting
this,
to that.
This is the freest of filters right here. I don't know why you wouldn't run this.
certified free.
This is also really good. Like if you said earlier, but if you're running like Compass or Musashi, this is your de facto go-to thing.
Yeah.
This card is so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still not really sold on this card in pure builds.
Yeah, well, okay, pure build, I can kind of see your argument, but even so, this is like a repeatable filter every single turn. You're never gonna get
Free.
climax screwed
You have so
unless
many filters already, dude. You have the 1/0
Yeah, but
Akatsuki clone
this is
and
the
the.
best one.
This is the best filter.
You don't need to run like 10 of them.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Well,
Have you?
Nisekoi runs like 8 and Nisekoi is top tier.
Isekai has good cards.
So, I can't actually counter that argument because that'll imply that this set is good, and I don't want to imply that too heavily.
Ooh, savage.
I'm really high on this card, but you guys can be Debbie Downers.
I think
if
this
you
card
want.
is fantastic.
No, I think this card's
I
like.
think free
broken
hand
out.
fixing.
Like, I'd
is
still
heinous.
give it a good rating, but I'm not completely sold on it.
Oh, I see where you're coming from. I just think it's ridiculous, and I want this card in my decks.
And it looks like she's got robot legs like Fox. It's the best of matches.
You've been playing too much
And-
Smash,
and-
bro.
Anchorage Princess
You mean
only,
Smash
Final
Bros.
Destination.
I'm gonna smack you through the internet.
Okay, so Anchorage Princess, 105k. This card has when a character is placed from hand to waiting room, when your character is placed from hand to waiting room, it gets 2k power for the turn.
So when
once.
you use a counter.
Or when you draw a
Combos with
drop
the
with this
Akatsuki.
amazing card we just talked about.
Yep.
You might want to filter like climaxes of the other cards too.
That's why
so
you
this
run
card's just
Akatsuki.
bad, man.
That's why you run Akatsuki and
Or
that
you just
card.
play that
So-
1/0 7k that doesn't need you to drop cards.
Well, this card is fine as well, because if you're going to run a counter-heavy game plan, then you may as well run more 7ks.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Because, yeah, you're going to tap to draw a drop, and you'll drop a character, and then you'll play a Katsuki because you just drew it, because that card above is ridiculous. And then you'll drop the climax that you need to drop.
Well,
Easy mode.
moving on.
This card I think is playable. I don't think it's super good, but it's fine.
It's playable. There are situations where this card could definitely be very usable and serviceable as a level 1 beater. Moving forward is the anti-change counter we were talking about.
Seaplane Tender Princess, 2/1, 2/5 counter. 2 cost when you use the backup Abyss. If you have 4 more evil boats, you may pay cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters with a higher level than the opponent and put it into the waiting room. So,
Why can't this
I'm-
just be a sack
Dude.
counter?
it's not a sack
It's a
counter, so
demerit.
Yeah.
it is actually a
It's a
demerit
literal
to not have that
demerit.
cost. The fact that it doesn't have that additional cost means it's just not that great.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'd rather be running the 2/1 green one that sinks the clock.
I mean, you play this instead of Zuiho if you really want an anti-change counter, but you've got an anti-change bomb already, so
Yeah.
why not just run?
Did she have a tongue where her legs go?
What the hell, dude?
I don't play KanColle, so I'm not going to answer that question.
Moving on.
I'm not trying to be weird. I'm just actually confused by the art of some of this.
You're being
Like-
pretty
Well,
weird, man.
yeah, like
Abyss,
it's not your fault, but you're being a little weird.
Moving forward.
dude. Abyss got a lot weirder after I stopped playing.
That card is this card we just talked about is niche. I might
yeah.
even be back.
It's
Isolated
niche or bad?
island own. It's still a quote unquote anti-damage counter if your opponent's stupid.
Yeah.
2/6K gives 1K to all other evil boats, and pay 2, tap this to search for an evil boat, add it to hand.
honestly, if this was like a 0/0 frontal 5 or a 1/0 global 5, I'd be more inclined to run it. But
It seems too little too late
Yeah,
and very
the
expensive.
fact that it's a 2/1 makes this like almost
Actually,
unplayable.
build a lot of stock with this deck, I think.
You think?
So you can actually you can afford the 2 cost.
It's not a
I
matter of
guess you
like
can,
affording the 2 costs or
but-
not. For me, it's just like I'd rather be sculpting my hand earlier, not at level 2.
I'd
Well-
also rather just brainstorm and pray
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
pay 3, actually, because you have to pay 2. I guess you get a 1K support out of it.
Thinking like a 2014 player, man.
No.
the card that comes immediately to mind for me is Akashi.
But
I
have
Akashi
to-
is
just
Akashi's better
The
because
card that comes to mind for
Yeah,
me
I know,
is
that's what I
the
was going
Psycho level
to
support,
say.
actually. Except this one doesn't heal.
Yeah, that one heals, doesn't count.
Yeah.
So I have to think like a 2014 player because this set has no bonds. I can't do anything without bonds.
I think this
Not
card
true,
is
but-
niche. I don't think you're going to be playing this.
Like,
I agree. If you want
Research
power,
is
you may as well go for
basically
the 1/5.
Yeah, frontal
that's all I have
1/5
to say.
moving forward.
Search is okay. Search is okay.
So,
It's
Yeah,
just
I just
a
don't
bit
like that the
expensive.
character costs stock in the first place.
yeah.
Akashi doesn't cost stock, and that's ballin'.
Yeah.
So Midway Princess has the most sexual flavor text of all of the cards. She's a 3/2 13K. If she's in the front
It's
row
pretty
but not in the
Japanese,
center,
man.
if she's in the front row but not in the center slot, it gains neg 4K power. So
Wonderful.
it's a 9K if it's not in the front center slot. If it's in the front center slot, for each of your other front row reversed characters or empty slots in the front row, it gains neg 2K power.
Wonderful.
When this is placed on hand stage, check up the top 3 cards of your deck and choose one of them to add to hand. The other just goes to the waiting room. 3 cost, choose one. I think that's the pants trigger.
Pants.
Yeah, 3 cost,
Yep.
choose a pants in your climax zone and sack it. When the battle opponent of this becomes reversed, you may pay cost. If so, stand this.
Yeah, this card's a trap.
I have a lot of problems with this card. The first one is
1300.
Yeah.
it's really anti-synergistic with the whole pants combo thing, because when you attack, like, pants combo is a continuous effect, so it needs to be there in order for your entire team to get the buff. But you're not allowed to have any reversed or empty slot characters in your front row, or else this card powers down, which is obviously bad. And that means you're going to power down, or you need a full front row of really good cards, at which point you're winning so hard it doesn't matter.
Yep.
This is very easy to play around. You just put a card in you just ram into the center slot, and then leave your fat fingers on the side. I guess you have Hoppo to cover for that if you need to. And lastly, I'm just not a fan of this card in general. It asks a lot, and it needs a lot to go right for it to be really good.
I think I guess niche would be the best way to put it, but I think the card it just isn't worth it. I mean, by default, like, this card does not play well with other copies of itself at all. Just by being in one of
Yeah.
the wings, it loses 6k power.
Well, you no. It only
Well, no,
loses.
it would only
4K.
lose 4K.
No,
It
'cause
doesn't.
it actually says other.
Yeah. But only if it's in the front row center slot.
Is it?
So if it's in the side, it's
Yes.
only 9K.
Oh, rip. Yeah,
You only
okay.
play one. Like you'd only ever play one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't see much of a reason to play this card.
No, I
I
think
don't
this
see the
card
harm in
is-
playing it because you'd probably play the pants anyway.
Are you gonna play 4 Hoppo, 4 of the heal, and 1 of this?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Solid.
Really? Okay.
Why?
Well, if you've got the room for that, but not the 1-0 draw ditch, then well,
Dude, I
whatever.
don't have
Man.
the space on the board for that 1-0 draw ditch.
That's your life. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
This card
You're
is,
gonna tell me how to play anime cards.
is whatever.
This is a niche card, man. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe if you're a baller,
You don't have
you'll go up
another
to
good
double
finisher
threes.
unless you go into the older sets.
Man, there are sets with one finisher. Don't complain.
There are
So,
sets with no finishers. Oh no, got it.
Yeah,
like,
Monogari's bad, dude.
just me
Well, there are
being me,
finishers,
ooh,
just not good ones.
King of Fighters blows this card out. With the free refresh that swaps 2 characters' position.
Did you know Melty has a finisher as well?
It has like, yeah, man, I played that thing before.
Why?
It's a 2-1.
Oh, the 2-1.
The 2-1,
It has-
right?
it has
I think that's the
Secrets.
one I'm talking about.
It has Alkiha on it, so he's obligated to play
Yeah,
it.
of course.
We're getting
Hey, I
off
played
topic.
Bad.
It's okay,
We're getting off topic.
It's-
So
it's-
moving
it costs
forward.
2. It's so bad.
but it's
Transport
multi-wood.
transport ship Wa class. Wah class. If all your characters are evil boats, this gains 1k power, and 1 cost, clock your top deck when this attacks. If you do, draw a card.
You.
Eh?
Yeah.
Where
I think when you have low class, you don't need this card at all.
I'm basically in agreement, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You,
Alright,
you
moving
could,
on.
you
Doesn't
could
seem
brace
good and-
yourself. See how many times you could clock yourself in a turn with this deck?
The answer is 5.
6.
Well, that 6?
6.
Oh,
You
that's
clock for
right.
turn, you woe twice,
Yeah,
3
yeah.
of those.
Just woe 4
Well-
times, man.
He's right.
And
just
search
local
for
time.
that with the last woe.
I mean, this isn't completely terrible because it's a set that has a Katsuki, so you can convert that raw advantage into a filter. But then you're playing down a 4/5 and just attacked with a 1k last turn. So
Really strong.
It's whatever.
yeah, okay, sure. Submarine car class. Well, this is placed from hand to stage. If your opponent has 1 or fewer characters in the front row, choose a cost 0 character they have and put it on the bottom of the library.
This card is hilarious.
Oh, cost 0 in their front row. So you basically put their front row runner into
Yeah.
the
I've
bottom.
always
of the
wanted to
deck.
play Nanohod.
It's techable in Ship Girl decks too.
Sure.
I guess so. It is the best anti-runner available to Kansai. Like, as in, it
Is there
doesn't
another one?
force-
No.
Well, you can pay
I
one
don't
to
remember
pop.
name another one.
Pretty sure there's a red one where you can.
Oh yeah,
pay-
there's a 500 assist. That's pay one to pop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
but this is obviously better because
Yeah.
you actually just get rid of a character and get direct for some amount of damage,
Yep.
which is good. Yeah, it also gets rid of like 4K unbombables and the like,
Yep.
which is really good. Otherwise, I'm not entirely convinced.
I think it's playable, but I don't.
The
think
biggest thing I've seen someone pop with this is one of the Persona 107Ks. Yeah, that's just a random tidbit. It was a Persona English TD versus a Nanoha Hayate waifu deck or something.
Oh, strong meta matches.
So yeah, you can do stuff with this if you are in a very specific situation.
card is whatever. Playable.
It's
Playable.
Oh, I've got this playable. It's playable.
It's
I'd definitely include it.
Alright.
Light Cruiser only, 0025. When this is placed from hand to stage, mill your top card from your deck. If it's a climax card, this goes to stock, and here is the good bit. Put this in the waiting room. When this is front attacked, you may pay cost. If so, choose up to 1 Light Cruiser only final form, so that's the 105k that gets 500 for every other evil boat, the double R. and then you put this in the slot it was as the defending character.
Trap changes.
So there's two things you should note about this card. The first is that you can get a 5k down at level 0 and it'll just be field presence, or you can have this on the field later game, direct attack into an empty slot, and then even if your opponent tries to clock kick it, you can just activate the cost without playing the Light Cruiser
without
only.
swapping it.
Because you can choose up to 1, you can choose 0.
It's good at level
Which
1
means-
too, because a lot of
on
meta
reverse.
decks have
Yeah.
on reverse class combos and like.
Yeah, this card
Yeah,
is really
so
good.
basically, those on reverse combos mean because this
Against
card's
those,
gonna
you could
die.
probably plop down the 5k and they might not be able to get over it.
This is correct, but if you
Yeah.
can't, then you just sack it, because
Yeah, of course.
even if you didn't sack it, then they were going to kill it anyway. And this way, they've already front attacked, so there's no direct attack penalty.
Yep.
It's just a really solid card in the metagame right now. It doesn't do very much against some combos, like the Ilya Pants combo or the LB plus 2 Soul combo, but the former isn't seeing much play, and the latter, no one has the climax, so it doesn't matter. I think this card is really good. This is like the first ability where it might go to stock if you do a climax. That's whatever. I very happily play cards with that demerits.
Yep.
In a Persona mostly. So it's not even a demerit. Sometimes it's a good thing. If this is your only level 0 beta and it goes to stock, then you just got stock and you'll get to level 0 before your opponent. I mean level
Well,
1
it's-
before your opponent.
It's not a level 0 beater, but you still get
Well, no,
stock.
but it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's a trap change. So, like, sometimes your opponent will just side attack this because they're so scared. At which point you just gained another free attack for a turn, which is good.
It's pretty cool.
I'm a fan. I gave this the good rating.
It's a good card. Moving on. It's a
Uh,
1/0 2k
but-
counter.
Yep. This is a really good card, actually, in this particular deck.
Yeah.
Light aircraft carrier new class, so it's basically 1/02k counter. The requirement for the extra 500 power is that you have an evil boat.
I think we've ordered this card
Easy.
Honestly,
in every
this
set
deck
that's
would be
come out.
fucked without this card. That's
Yeah,
what I
I
think.
agree.
Yeah.
Like, this deck
deck
would
would
be
be completely
garbage without
fucked.
this. So this card is very bad in a lot of decks, but in this deck it is very, very good.
Yep.
Because it's field-based.
Moving
It's something you would consider 4 of, honestly.
forward. I don't think
I
4 of.
don't know about 4, but 3 definitely. 4 1/0 counters for anything short of the freaking Milky counter in the Milky Holmes detective deck. I'm not sure I'm on board with.
Anyways, this card is
That's fair.
This card is good. Moving
It's
forward.
good because it's like you can back up your 1/07Ks. It's
Yeah.
a natural defense to all the on reverse combos. You can back up your one of the 2/1s we're about to talk about. In fact, it is literally the next card. And you can back up the 1/1 counters or whatever. It's just a good card, in my opinion.
Next.
Yo, fuck this bitch.
Yo, fuck you, dude.
Yo, fuck you.
No, fuck you.
That escalated really quickly. Battleship
Sam's
reclass,
a fucking hater.
2/6K. If your opponent has a Fleet Girl character, this gets -1 level in hand. Oh wait, no, this is not the card we were talking. I was
This
talking-
card is
This
bad.
is not. I did not read this correctly. For each of your other evil boats, it gains 500. And when it's placed from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a climax card, you may choose one of your opponent's level 0s and bottom deck it.
This card is bad.
I just wanted
This is-
her to be playable. That's all I wanted.
Well,
This is
You
not
can
the
use her
card
to
I
slay
thought.
boats, man.
mission
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah, this card is bad.
She is not attacking 5 times. I am not rock hard. Like,
I'm gonna just go ahead and say that even though this is this is not actually the advanced summon I want against Kansai.
No.
It's not actually good.
You
Moving
can
forward.
torpedo
I'd
their
much rather have-
Atsukazes, man.
I'd much rather have a different
Torpedo
one.
their Hibiki.
also,
Just moving on because I don't want to stay on a bad card.
man, I
Yeah,
just
that
want to
card
say
is just-
real quick, when you were like hyping up the next card after we were talking about the counter, I was so confused because I already clicked onto this page, and I was like, "What the fuck am I missing? Is this redeemable? Can I build Abyss?"
My bad. I read the card wrong. I'm not gonna give this the bad rating. I'm gonna give it the niche rating
I'm gonna give it the bad
because
rating.
I think it's bad.
Teru's gonna
I think
waifu
it's
this
bad.
deck. Teru's
I-
gonna put this on the deck.
I'm just gonna buy some foil ones and call it a day, man.
Well, that's
Dude,
fair as well.
I bought the mat and the sleeves. I was like so excited. And now I have
Next-
array mat and sleeves, and that's cool
Next
too.
card. Battleship Princess is 2175. 1 cost, drop a card from hand. When get sunk, which is the book.
Yes.
Yeah, the book.
Get
When that's placed the climax zone, if it's in the front row, you may pay cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's cost 1 or lower characters and bottom deck it. And put this in the waiting room. When another evil boat is front attacked, you may pay cost. If you do, choose a character in battle. That character gets 3k for the turn.
Wonderful.
This is kind of reminiscent of that Kantai 2-1
Yeah.
blue.
except you
Yeah.
lose hand instead of build it.
Exactly.
Except they lose a card instead of you gaining it.
Except it costs you more resources.
Yeah, but you discard a card.
Discard card as well. Ugh.
It's bad.
Yeah,
Card is bad.
and it's not on a pants, which
I am
may or may
not a
not
fan.
matter.
Bad
I'm
card.
not a fan of this card. I don't know about bad, because it still has function. It's just niche.
Playable.
I don't feel like you want to be
I
dedicating
think
fields.
playable is strong.
3k counter bid is alright.
I don't think you
They
want to dedicate
put some-
field slots to this. If you want a 3k counter, you have a 2-1 3k counter.
He's right. You do have a hand counter. You don't need a field counter. Because that just means they get a free direct attack.
And this is an SP.
Moving on.
That's so sad.
She has voice. She has a voice, man.
I get that, but like, they could have made the card better.
Or
moved
should've.
on.
002k, Destroyer Princess. When this is placed from hand to stage, you look at the top card of your deck, put it either on top or bottom. When the stock soul is placed at the climax zone, if this is in the front row, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an evil boat, this gains 5k for the turn.
Bad card. At least
Bad card climax.
yeah.
I don't even think it's a bad card, because you get to look at the top card of your deck, which is shenanigans with some of the green level ones, but
It's pretty mediocre.
There's another top checker that's also a 0/0 blue that also has 1 cost draw ditch. It's not on trade, but I'd rather play that.
sure, we'll go with that. But this card seems
Pretty bad.
mediocre at best.
Mhm.
I think you might be playing the stock.
More
You might play the
SPs.
stock soul anyway.
Dude, more SP.
Eh,
This is SP. Ha.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, it has
Sure.
voice lines.
Love
yeah.
voices.
I don't like this card very much. I don't think it's very good.
All right, I'm calling it niche.
I'm calling it bad.
That's fair. Heavy Cruiser Reclass? Ryclass? I don't even know. It's a 0025. It's a 1 cost drop searcher for evil boats.
Very standard card, playable.
It
Sweet.
is playable, I agree.
Sure.
I don't actually know if you have room for it, but it seems okay.
I don't think you do.
Play Natago, man.
The discard bit is a lot worse when you have Akatsuki and
Yeah.
draw ditch outlets that are costless.
Mhm.
But it's playable, I guess, if you really like stability.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Destroyer, hard class.
stock
If there's
out.
6 or more cards in hand, it gains 1 level and 1k.
It's fine.
I don't think this is better than the standalone 4k.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
I'm not sure about that. Because you
Yeah,
have
I
a lot
guess-
of supports that you're playing down.
well,
Like, you're
if
playing
you
4
play
on
down,
level 500, dude. You're
sure,
playing
sure,
4.
but if you play down all your supports, this loses 1k and 1 power.
There's no way you're having 7 cards in your hand, or 6 or more cards in your hand. Play this and a support. It just doesn't
I
happen.
guess so.
It's functionally a solo play card.
Just take it from someone who has tried to play this similar card in Persona. It never works out the way you want it to.
It's functionally a solo play card.
Yeah, like I played the Mitsuru, and basically it's a turn 1 play, and you never play it otherwise. It's just very average, and I think the standalone is just a lot better
I think
because
so
it
too.
does a better job and it lets you sculpt your hand if need be.
Yep.
So this is the card I was talking about, 0025. When
This
your
card's
character is
awful.
placed from hand to waiting room, it gains 2/5 for the turn. Activates up to once. It's a really ghetto beta for level 1.
It's pretty whatever. I would not run it.
There's not really a way to discard cards aside from the 0/0 top check global.
Drop searcher.
Yeah, I guess, but there's no other costs way.
Akatsuki.
Katsu's
That's
Yeah,
not
but
level
not-
one.
Oh, you mean at level
Oh.
0, yeah.
Yeah.
the only one you have dropped it.
The actual Akatsuki activates this if you're deciding to run that.
But I don't know why
But-
you run this.
Yep.
I'm not big on this card. I think it is niche, but that might be very optimistic of me.
I think that's just bad, man.
It's a really it serves as a level 0 beta better than the stock soul climax combo 1 does, if you ask
That's
me.
not saying much.
This is not saying anything. I'm gonna
Oh,
move on from
I
bad
guess
cards.
that is fair, I suppose. Yeah, if you're running something like this, you may as well just run the 1/0.
Moving on from bad
Tar-
Oh,
cards.
she's a
Tarkov?
cunt too.
You seem
Top
very
class.
salty about these cards.
Dude,
Top
Taz,
class.
bitch.
So 1/0 4K. When this
She doesn't
attacks,
wear
it gains
pants.
X power for the turn, where X is 500 times the number of the opponent's characters, and no, she does not wear pants. She has Clock Encore.
This is a whatever card. I've played with a similar effect in Nisekoi. It's kind of whatever there. You generally just clock yourself every turn if you want to keep this on the field.
Yeah.
I think you have
Yeah.
better things to do than clock yourself every turn. And if you're going to clock yourself every turn, why not use the target Tsubo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Woe is clocking you every turn anyway.
So.
Yep.
Whatever.
So
Moving forward.
we're coming to the end. Southern War Oni, 1/8K. The character opposite this gets 1 soul.
Basically means this got sided for free.
God, this is
So, get this bombed,
is-
but guys.
such irresponsible flavor text. The path is impassable. Well, this card literally enables you to take a different path by siding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's the flavor, Bushy Road?
No.
So
Not
this
okay.
card is not good. No, you have better things to play at level 1
You also
that
don't
are
want to pay stock for
costless.
this.
Yeah, that don't give your opponent free soul to manipulate with.
Speaking of,
2/1, this is the card I was talking about earlier. 2/1 7K, Anchorage Wateroni. If you have 4 more other evil boats, this gets -1 level in hand. And this activates up to once a turn. When a character is placed from hand to waiting room, this gets 1/5 power.
Yep.
So I think this is the best early play at level 1.
Yeah.
I agree, but I don't think it's necessary. Like, you
I
can
would
get
play
away
it.
with not playing
I
an
would play
event
two.
summon.
Like, this is really good against, like, Nisekoi and Fairy Tail
I would put
and
2.
Persona. The cards
Good
and
against
decks that
Fairy
care
Tail.
about
Oh
bombs.
goodness. I would play 2 of this card.
This
I think
seems
it's
alright.
cool.
It's just a good early play, and by good I mean it's not terrible.
Yeah.
An
'Cause
issue
it-
I have with the power pump is
Mhm.
like they can go 500 over this thing, then you're forced to counter on this and not save your counter for other lanes.
I suppose, but at that point you've got a 2/1 fatty that you get to Akatsuki into the empty row next turn and beat down something
Yes.
like this on 8/5. Like this being at 1 or 2 is fine. Like I don't see any harm in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like a decent advanced summon, a decent level 1 play in general because it's such a free advanced summon cost.
Yeah.
I think playing it is fine, but you can probably just drop it completely if you really wanted to.
Sure.
Oh, but
I
it's
think
like
just
a
a solid
1/1.
card.
Like, I'd play it because I like the art, but
At worst, it's a 1/1 7K with a soul trigger. Well, not at worst, but like in the middle ground.
mhm.
I mean, are you really gonna not play this and instead play the 3/2 restand? That's the gatekeeper question, if you ask me.
Wow.
Like, if
Savage.
you've made room for the restander, can you really not make room for this?
I have room for both of them, to be honest.
Well,
Okay, then how come you are playing one or both of these and not the 1/0 amazing draw ditch support?
Dude,
The
stop.
card is baller. I want it in my decks, and I've got high standards.
this card is good. Well, that is it for the set.
Yeah, we've reached the end.
Wow.
That was quicker than I thought it would be. Stay tuned for the overview bit.